I'm so lucky that I had a video scheduled because I had literally one of the worst headaches of all time yesterday. But we're good now, and today is gonna be a pretty good video. If you guys are a new player to this game, you might pick up a few tips and tricks, but I think this will be more funny for the veteran players out there who know all this stuff, but let's get right into it. So I think we're going to start things off with one of my favorite abbreviations in the entire game. This is just truly one of the most remarkable words of all time. Like, this word is so incredible that it has the ability to change the level of cringe simply by adding or removing the amount of e's in the word. Yes, the word I'm talking about is peeve, or peeve, or peeve. An extra note to get it more cringy is to hold your nose and say it like this. Peeve. If you guys aren't aware, this is the abbreviation for PvP, which is kind of funny because the word peeve actually has more letters than PvP. However, some people, for some weird reason, find this to be better than saying PvP. Again, in order to make the word as cringy as possible, it's super important that you add a bunch of e's and plug your nose. Alright, now let's get into some abbreviations that people use for the different worlds in Wizard 101. People will often refer to Crocotopia as simply Croc. Marleybone is often abbreviated as MB, and then Mushu doesn't really have an abbreviation because it's just such a badass name for a world. People often abbreviate Dragonspire as DS, but I really don't think it's because they're lazy. I think it's because most people actually don't know how to spell the word spire with a Y. But in any case, Zafaria, the world I'm in right now, this world is often abbreviated as ZF, or until the recent update, often called the world of way too many defeat and collect quests. We're then going to move on to Chrysalis, which is sometimes abbreviated as KH, but most people call it the world that probably is going to take forever because it has two parts. Then we go to one of my favorites, which is Darkmoor, often abbreviated as DM, or until the chest was added into the game, most people called it Saltmoor or I don't want to be here anymore. Occasionally when people actually got the gear, sometimes they would call it Dankmoor, but mostly you'll see this referred to as Saltmoor or DM. I know I didn't get all of the worlds, but some of them weren't quite as interesting. But lastly is Polaris, often known as the joke world. The reason it's known as the joke world by most high level players is that it's basically a joke. Like, it literally takes about 8 hours to finish, which for a max level world is very, very little time. Another one way too many people don't know is the TFC, which if you go to your friends list and click on here, you can get this code, which you can then use to add certain people. I have a feeling some random person's gonna pop up on my friends list, whoever gets that code first. Now, if you guys have been in the arena and never done PvP before, there's probably a good chance at one point you might have heard this one. This is actually one of my favorites, and it's the no skill. Basically, this probably means that you won the match and the person is super salty that they didn't win, so they then proceed to divert the blame onto you instead of realizing that they probably could have done better. Then lastly for today, we have one of my personal favorites, one that isn't really special to Wiz but often has a very special meaning in Wiz. Because of the nature of the text chat in this game, most people can't use the words that they'd rather use, which leads them to be creative. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips on how they will try to insult you in ways that probably won't work. My favorite word is noob. Now, if you think about it, this word doesn't seem like very much, but for some people, this word carries a lot of meaning. Basically, this means that they think they are superior to you in every way and that you're probably garbage at PvP and you probably will end up beating them. Another couple of my favorites are what people use to swear. For example, instead of saying this awfully vulgar and inappropriate word, people will often say bitch instead, which obviously completely denotes the meaning and is perfectly acceptable for young kids to say. Another one of my favorites, for the also extremely vulgar and inappropriate F word, people will often use the abbreviation foo king, which obviously has no relation to that word at all, but rather a very, very intelligent abbreviation. And finally, one of my favorites that actually resulted in him getting reported, but in my opinion was completely worth it. I'll leave you guys with a screenshot of one of the most clever typed out text chat sentences I have ever seen in my entire life. Anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'm sure there's a bunch of slang words that I forgot, that's why I sort of want to do a part 2 to this video, so if you guys have any other suggestions of words that I did forget, please be sure to leave them in the comments below, and if I get enough, I'll make a part 2 to this video. Obviously this video was a complete joke. I don't urge any of you to use those words at all. They'll probably just make you more hated than you already are. I mean, what? Anyways guys, if you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, and I'll catch y'all in my next video.